Okay, welcome to the tutorial on how to set up the podcast rig that we're going to be using in class. I'm a firm believer that it's a lot easier to know the things that you actually do. So every week we're going to have recording exercises that you do at home, and obviously we're going to be doing this stuff in class every week. So first off, there's a kit that I'll be bringing to the class. This is my gear. It's got two pairs of headphones, one for the audio engineer, one for the boom pole operator. You've got a Zoom H4n. You've got a wireless lavalier transmitter and receiver. And you've got some cables for your headphone rig. And then from the EFP window, room 116, we're going to be signing out a boom pole and an XLR cable every week. So let's run down how we set this stuff up. First thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the lavaliers have batteries in them. So with the door, there's two little latches on either side of the belt packs. You just squeeze and open that up. Make sure you got batteries in there, AA batteries. I'll be bringing those to class. And then when you power it up, there's an on-off button here. You just hold that, powers it up, and you'll see a battery indicator here. Sometimes it takes it a second to refresh, so you want to do this first so that when you come back before you record, you have an accurate representation of how much battery life is left. If you got to swap out the batteries, you'll know. Okay, so then we are going to connect all the audio and power wires. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to plug in the H4n using the Shore Power wall wart that we have provided. The H4n does run on batteries, but it tends to really mow through the batteries really quickly. So we want to go with the Shore Power whenever we can. All right, then we are going to connect the headphone split to the H4n from the headphone line out jack. This gives us a Y cable. Then we are going to connect the engineer's headphone to one side of that, Y. So this is the person who is going to sit at the mix location, the record location. The other side is going to go to the boom pole operator extension, which is this red wire, and then the other end of that is going to go to the boom pole operator's headset. So now we can both hear while we're mixing, right? Let's see, then we go to the wireless lavalier. The receiver, the one that's got the XLR connection, is going to go to channel 1, and then the boom pole XLR is going to go to channel 2. All right. Done. And make sure that the other end is connected to your microphone. Perfect. All right. Step 3, you are going to power on the H4n. The H4n, there's a power button here on the side that you hold down to power up the unit. You'll see the screen lights up. It's going to take a little while for it to go through its booting procedure. The next thing that we are going to do is format the SD card. Okay, so to get there, you get to the menu through the side of the H4n. You push the menu button, and you're going to scroll down until you get to SD card. The scroll wheel is also depresses as a selector. There's one there, it says SD card. Click that, and then scroll down to format, and are you sure? Yes, and it's going to format the card. All right, we want to do this every time because the file names are just kind of generic. They're like numbers and letters. So we need to know that the stuff that's on here is actually the stuff we want. So by formatting the card, we know there's no extraneous material on there. It's going to make file management a lot easier for us down the road when we start to transfer the stuff into our workstation. All right, that is complete. We wait for it to come back. All right, and now we want to set the date and time. For a similar reason, we're going to scroll down to menu, scroll down to system, is date and time, and we go in there and just verify that our date and time is correct. It's military time, so you say okay. The reason again that we want to do the date and time is because the files have generic names, but if we were using this out in the field, we would want to be able to find out, oh, where were those things that I recorded on Saturday? I know that that's the effects I recorded out in that field, whatever. So you'll be able to find your way back to your media based on the time that you recorded it. And you want that time to be accurate, so you set your things first before you ever hit the record button. All right, then we are on to setting the mode. There are 3 modes for this unit: stereo, 4-channel, and multi-track. We'll get into the other ones possibly in advanced audio, but for now, we are just going to use stereo. So for that, we go under Menu, we go to Mode, and you choose stereo. And that's confirmed by the little red light appearing over the stereo. All right. There's a tutorial online which goes into each one of those modes in more detail for what you would use them for, so you can watch that in the YouTube playlist that I have set up. Verifying the input settings. Menu, and up to Input. It's got a little picture of a microphone. Our low cut we want off. Our compression limit we want off. Our monitor we want on. The 1-2 link we want off. Level auto we want off. We're going to control the level ourselves. Mono mix we want off. MX matrix is not applicable because that only works when you have 1-2 link turned on. And then finally, the big important one here is for phantom power plus 48V to be on. Okay, that is going to provide power to our boom mic, our shotgun microphone, our condenser microphone. So without that phantom power turned on, Mikey no worky. Okay. So now we are going to confirm our recording format. This unit will allow you to record in either WAV or MP3. When you're in MP3 mode, it takes up less space, but it also eats your batteries significantly faster. So just bear that in mind if you do find yourself out in the field with this recorder. Generally speaking, I would always want you to record in WAV format. But if you do have a really long program that you wanted to record, you're going to need to bring yourself some extra batteries. So to get into that, we go to Menu, Record, and the first one is Record Format. And if you click on that, the first choice is 44.1 16-bit, and that's what I'm going to request that we record as our master format for the podcast. All right, so we've essentially set everything up now. The machine is properly configured. We've got all our connections. So now we need to set the record levels. So the first thing, we don't want to be on the internal mics. We've plugged in 2 external devices, the lavaliers and the boom. So we have to switch our inputs to 1 and 2 from mic. They light up, let us know that we're now using these 2 inputs. It's stereo, so you can only use 2 inputs at any given time, either the internal or the external. We're using the external. Click record once. That then puts us into standby and we can see our record levels. Now, you're going to have your talent talk into their mics. So in my case, that means clipping up the lavalier microphone and talking into it. When you push input number 1, it lets you know that you selected it, and then you can adjust over on the side the input levels using the record level buttons on the side. I want you to adjust the level, the input level, for each of the microphones such that you have, when somebody is speaking at their regular level, their regular delivery level, their regular performance level, the average volume for that person hovers right around -12 dB on the VU meter. That doesn't mean you turn the record level until it says input level 12. No. That could be 80, it could be 20, it could be 60, I don't know. It's going to change depending on who's speaking, and you're going to adjust it such that the level coming into the unit reads -12 dB. Then you're going to do the same for input number 2. You're going to have your boom pole operator put the microphone into position in the classroom. You're going to ask a student to please tell me a little bit about your weekend or something like that. You just need to get them talking, and then you're going to push number 2, and you are going to adjust the input volume for input number 2 until it too hovers around -12 dB. All right, so the job of the engineer, the recording engineer, is going to be to monitor the volume coming in on the VU meters and select either 1 or 2 and make adjustments to the record level as the course proceeds, as the class continues. All right? So most likely you're going to be needing to adjust the boom pole volume more often than the lavalier, because I'm going to be relatively consistent in the way that I deliver and the microphone isn't moving. The boom pole is going to be moving around the room and it's going to be picking up different people. Some people are going to have louder voices than others. So you're going to be more proactive as the recording engineer in regulating the volume of the boom pole. So that means touching 2 and then adjusting the record level as the conversation unfolds. Okay. Then you are going to notify the class that you are okay to record. Audio's ready. Okay. The A1 position, what we call the audio engineer, will then push the record button a second time. That will then be lit solid red, and you'll see that the time code on the top of the unit starts moving. That lets you know that we are now recording. All right. The boom pole operator at that point is going to follow the action in the room. They are going to move throughout the room, and wherever the conversation takes us, the boom pole person is going to try to get there as quickly as possible. So it is a more dynamic position. You gotta not be shy about it. Get out and walk around and follow the action. Get as close as possible with the boom pole. All right. I would like you to pause the recorder by hitting the pause button whenever we take a class break, or if we move into one of the rooms for a demonstration that wouldn't lend itself well to an audio demo. And then when we come back, you hit the pause button again, and then recording continues. There will be a position for extra credit if you would like to actually edit and master the audio recordings and post it to the server so that the class can download it. I will offer that part of the process up as an extra credit assignment that anybody can apply for. And you could do it in a recurrent basis, or you could, we could rotate it around the class depending on how much of a demand there is for the extra credit. So good luck. Wait a minute. Haha. When we're done, I would also appreciate it if the 2 people who are on deck as the A1 and A2 also assist in the packing of the material. So you are going to do things in reverse order, essentially from line item number 3, how-to item number 3. That means starting with powering off the H4n. You are going to hold the power button until it says goodbye, see ya. And then you are going to go in reverse order. Disconnect the boom pole from the H4n and wrap the boom pole cable in an over-under fashion. We'll go over that in class. Wrap it over-under, tie it, and then return the boom pole and the XLR cable to room 116. Remove the lavaliers, remove the headphones, disconnect the headphones, disconnect the extension, neatly wrap the headphones. The Sony headphones have this telephone cable, coily telephone cable. You don't want to wrap things really tightly because that puts a strain on the connector and it breaks the headphones. So always leave yourself a service loop so that it's loose going into the headphones, and then just gently wrap it around. Don't wrap it tight because it stretches out the telephone cable and then it starts to tangle more easily. So just loosely wrapping the cable around the headphones, that's good enough. Those are going to go in the bag. Same with the other headphones. They tuck in, so they sit like this normally. You're just going to tuck them in, leave a service loop so you're not straining the connector, and then gently coil up the cables. Good enough. Put that in. Open the doors for the wireless receivers. Hold the on-off button for a few seconds. It powers itself off. Close it up. Headphones go in the separate partition. I mean the lavaliers go in a separate partition. Same for the other transmitter, the lavalier with the microphone. Very good. Remove the power cable from the H4n. Put the H4n back in its plastic carrying case. Lock it up. H4n goes away. And finally the power supply for the H4n. Again, similar deal. Don't wrap it really tightly. I don't want to break the power supply. And then your headphone cable and your headphone splitter. You notice it's neat. It's not all a rat's nest of wires, so the next person who's going to pull it out is actually going to be able to use it. And finally, the pack of batteries. That's good. This kit comes back to me. XLR and boom go back to the EFP window. All right, great. I will see you in class.